Timing your transition to retirement can be everything. If you're in your 50s and wondering whether or not now is the time to retire, or if you should wait just a few more years, this video is for you. So in today's video, we're going to walk through how you can know when it might be the right time to retire, and more importantly, how delaying retirement or pulling the trigger too early can impact the rest of your financial life. And stick around, because in part 3, I'll share a surprising question that helped one couple decide confidently and without regrets when to walk away from their full-time work. It's a question that most people never think to ask. Because let's face it, choosing a retirement date can feel final, and that uncertainty can keep even well-prepared people working years longer than they might need to. Or worse, retiring too soon without realizing what they might have just walked into. By the end of this video, I'm hoping that you'll have a clear understanding of your retirement timeline, informed by real-world insights and financial planning best practices. So let's dive right in. Let's start with one of the most tempting ideas: retiring early. For many people in their 50s, the dream of early retirement starts to take shape. More free time, less stress, a chance to finally enjoy life after decades of hard work. And if your portfolio looks strong, it's natural to wonder why not. But here's the catch. The numbers don't tell the whole story. According to the Employee Benefits Research Institute, 40% of retirees stopped working earlier than they had planned to. And of those, 70% said it was factors due outside their control, like health issues, layoffs, or family caregiving needs. Beyond the financial risk, though, there's also a psychological gap that catches many off guard. I've worked with clients who had over $1 million saved, and every calculator online said that they're in great shape, yet they hesitated. Not because they couldn't afford to retire, but because deep down, they weren't confident. They were asking questions like, do I really have enough? Or what if I'm wrong? Even if you're financially prepared to handle a new roof or a surprise medical bill, early retirement means relying on your investments to fund everything: daily living, unexpected expenses, and taxes, without a paycheck. That can be a major psychological hurdle. That's why retiring early takes more than just hitting a number. It takes margin, a plan for the unplanned, and a clear strategy for navigating the sequence risk zone, which is the 5 years before and 5 years after you retire, when poor market returns can have an outsized impact. Retirement researcher Wade Pfau has shown that a bad market in this window can reduce your safe withdrawal rate from 4% to as little as 2.5%. So the bottom line, early retirement without flexibility and foresight can turn a well-funded retirement plan into a fragile one. If there are concerns about retiring too soon, then the cost of playing it too safe is about retiring too late. Let's talk about the other common scenario I see, which is someone in their early to mid-60s, financially sound, still showing up to work every day. Not because they want to necessarily, but because they're scared not to. The fear is, what if I'm wrong? But here's the truth. Delaying retirement doesn't always buy more freedom. It can cost you time, health, and fulfillment. I worked with a family that in their early 60s had about $2.2 million saved. They owned their home outright, and their Social Security benefits alone would cover just under half of their living expenses. But they kept on working. Why? Because the retirement plan success score wasn't 100%. And that's my problem with how most of these planning softwares work. You get a probability of success, whether it's 90%, 95%, or maybe even 98%. But that number says nothing about the kind of life that you're trading in for. It's like staring at your weight on a scale and calling that your health plan. So we ran 2 scenarios for them. The first one is working until age 67, which our planning software projected they'd be passing away with over $4.3 million, or retiring 4 years earlier at age 63, and their plan projected them to pass away with around $3 million. Same lifestyle, slightly less money at the end, but 4 extra years of living life on their terms. When I heard them talk about those extra years and what they could look like, more travel, time with their grandkids, no daily commute downtown, I could see the excitement and the joy in their faces, because they realized that they weren't chasing a better retirement plan. They were chasing certainty, and it was potentially costing them some of their best years. And this happens all the time. Delaying makes sense if you're unsure, underfunded, or if you're maybe tied to employer healthcare coverage. But too often, delaying becomes a crutch. You think, just 1 more year, until 5 years later, and your goals have shifted, or even worse, disappeared entirely. But there's one risk that often gets overlooked. One that isn't about money, yet could impact everything that you've worked so hard for. And I'll explain what that is in just a moment. Now, you also have to plan for declining health and mobility when you're thinking about when to retire. Data from the National Center for Health Statistics shows that between the ages of 60 and 70, the average adult can experience a sharp increase in chronic illness, mobility issues, and hospital visits. And yet those are some of the best years that you might have planned to travel, play with your grandkids, volunteer, or maybe just explore. And that's the risk most people don't think about until it's too late. So yes, working longer can strengthen your financial plan, but it can also steal the chapter of your life that you were saving everything for. So the real question isn't, will I have enough at age 67? It's, what will I be missing by waiting until age 67? That's why the goal isn't to delay forever. It's to pick a date that financially is safe for you and emotionally aligned with what you want out of life. If this feels like the path you're on, you might find value in my retirement readiness review video. It's a personalized video where I break down your retirement outlook and highlight potential blind spots for you. I'll put a link in the description if you want to learn more about it. So if retiring early feels risky and waiting too long feels wasteful, how do you know when it's the right time to retire? Well, here's the answer. Use a retirement timing framework that doesn't rely on fear, gut feelings, or a one-size-fits-all advice. At Confluence, we help clients use a 3-part model to evaluate retirement readiness: financially, emotionally, and strategically. So let me walk you through it. The first is your financial baseline. Start with your real, adjusted monthly spending target. Not what you think you'll spend, but what you'll actually need to spend. Post-tax, post-insurance, and post-lifestyle shifts in retirement. You can include things like your fixed expenses, such as housing, healthcare, insurance, your variable costs, which are going to be your travel, your hobbies, maybe dinners out, maybe supporting family, and then maybe contingency expenses, such as house repairs or long-term care expenses. Then you can take that needed income amount and you can stress test that against your portfolio, not just with a retirement success score based on average or good returns, but also running it looking at bad returns, specifically at the start of your retirement. This will help you answer the question of, if my portfolio drops 15% early on in retirement, will I need to adjust my spending to still be okay? Think of your retirement plan like planning a road trip. Most people map it out assuming that they're going to have perfect weather and clear roads. And that's like using average or good market returns in your retirement projections. But smart travelers also ask, well, what if we hit a snowstorm right as we're about to leave? And that's like testing your financial plan with bad returns at the start of retirement. By doing that, you're not just hoping the trip is going to go smoothly, but you're making sure that you're still going to reach your destination, even if you have to slow down or maybe take a detour. It helps you answer, if things start off rough, can I still make it without running out of gas? Or in this case, money. And the second is your emotional fit. Earlier, I mentioned a surprising question that helped one couple make their retirement decision with total confidence. It wasn't about their withdrawal rate or investment mix. It was this: if you wake up tomorrow and your job disappeared, would you feel relieved or panicked? That question led to an honest conversation, not about money, but about their energy, their purpose, and what they actually wanted out of the next chapter of their life and what they wanted that chapter to look like. And that clarity was more powerful than any retirement calculator for them. A 2023 AARP survey found that 1 in 3 retirees said that they felt isolated within the first 18 months of leaving the workforce. And it doesn't just impact you emotionally, it can also impact you financially, as studies show that bored retirees tend to spend more or even return back to work simply due to a lack of structure. So make sure that you're retiring to something and not just from something. Now, the third is a strategic window. Finally, evaluate your timing window. Are you retiring before or after the age of 62? This could affect your Social Security options. Are you pre-65? Then you might need to build a healthcare bridge until you're eligible for Medicare at age 65, which can often be one of the biggest hidden costs of early retirement. Or are you near age 70? Where you'll need to consider required minimum distributions, or RMDs, and how they might impact your taxes later on in retirement. And if that's the case, maybe you should be looking at annual Roth conversions to lessen the impact of large RMDs. And don't forget to review your employer-specific benefits that may be tied to your retirement date, like your 401k matches, your pension vesting, stock options, or deferred compensation plans. Walking away just a few months too early could mean leaving valuable benefits on the table. And then overlay these milestones that we just discussed with your current savings, your current health status, and your family situation. The goal here isn't to hit a magic number of when you should retire, but to see when your life and your money might align. So if you're in your 50s and questioning whether or not to retire, remember this: it's not just about retiring early or late. It's about retiring with purpose, with clarity, and with a plan that fits you. If this video helped you think differently about your timeline, I encourage you to subscribe. We're releasing more content soon on navigating Social Security, minimizing retirement taxes, and improving your overall retirement plan. And if you want help evaluating your own timeline, check out our retirement readiness review, and I'll put the link in the description for you. Thanks for watching, and as always, great days ahead.